ladies and gentlemen, all you sexy people out on internet land. Brian here with Manabeast doing a deck profile on the Garlic Jr. deck that I took to regionals up in Kansas City just this last weekend, and did pretty well. Had a couple blow-up matches against just, RNG, but all in all, the deck performed really well, so I wanted to go over it. I had a lot of people ask me questions about it, so here I am doing a deck profile. Of course, we know the Blue Protective Mastery. We know how this rolls. We know about, your opponent needs 6 anger to advance to their next personality level, and you can discard physical to guard an energy, energy to guard a physical, and in that you can then raise or lower an anger one if it was a style card. It's blue. We know this stuff. But let's talk about our Blue Garlic here, okay? I really love this card. Really love the idea behind the deck. So I'll get right into the Garlic Jr. personality. Level 1 power, your opponent's attacks deal -1 life card of damage. Amazing against Krillin. Like, oh, Destructo Disc, you only do 4. Aww. You need 2 less anger to advance personality level, and power, raise your anger 1. So, he pretty much gets himself off of level 1 in 3 combats, not even counting anger gaining cards. So, pretty dang amazing. Level 2 is your opponent's attacks deal -2 life cards of damage, even better. And then whenever a Dragon Ball is revealed when taking damage, raise your anger 1 level. Now, boys and girls, I checked this with the Panini judge staff, talked to them all there. This does count when your opponent takes damage. So if your opponent takes damage and they reveal a Dragon Ball when taking damage, you get to raise your anger 1. So this is not just by your Dragon Ball effects, which is pretty darn amazing as well. It gets you off this level really stupid quick. Level 3, and possibly my favorite level of all, is your opponent's attacks do -2 life cards and -2 stages of damage. So come at me. And then whenever you raise an anger, you may capture a Dragon Ball. I don't care if you're an Namekian, I don't care who you are, I'm not doing a critical effect, I'm just taking your Dragon Ball. So we'll show you how that combo works with some of the Dragon Balls. It's pretty fun. And then his level 4, which is kind of that teetering last bit before you get to win by MPPV, is Garlic Jr. 4. Your opponent's attacks deal +3 life cards of damage. Your Dragon Balls cannot be captured, and whenever your anger is lowered, you may capture a Dragon Ball. So this is geared towards winning by MPPV, and if your opponent tries to lower your anger, you're getting a Dragon Ball back. So they have to carefully meter how they work this with Garlic 4. But again, you also have to as well, because you get that booty smacked real easy. So let's go in starting with the drills here. Start some simple stuff. First run, the Lookout drill. Drill just says, after this drill enters play from your hand, rejuvenate 1. And then Infinity, the first time each turn an opponent's card effect would destroy or banish cards from the top of your life deck, reduce that amount to 0. This card has saved my butt millions of times, especially against black decks, because anytime they discard Black Corruption, you essentially get to negate that. So all the banishing that goes off your deck, if this drill's on the field, it says no. And also, even in a deck that wants to mill you, it's going to make them waste something. So even decks that will get off, certain cards, or if you're going against a Piccolo level 2 player, at some point somehow they are losing the advantage of their mill game, and they got to make choices carefully. So still a really good card, and it just stops a lot of the mill game in Dragon Ball Z. Next drill I'm running here is Blue Overpowering drill. Now, I did switch this out. Originally at the tournament I had Blue Biting drill, trying to get more physical damage in there, but it really didn't do what I wanted it to. And I really wanted to go for more of Blue Positioning drill, which is whenever you stop an attack, place a styled card from your discard pile on top of your life deck. This card is just much better advantage for me. It allows me to stack my deck. It allows me to set up my next turn. I am a very guard-heavy deck, as you'll see by the next cards and some of what I'm showing. This here I really like for reusing key cards in the deck, which I'll talk about later, such as Blue Betrayal, other cards that I want to reuse against enemies and against different drill setups. This card just works really amazing with it. And then this one, Blue Overpowering drill. Villains only. Card is not discarded when advancing a level, so it stays on the field for good. And then whenever you stop an attack, you may raise a player's anger 1 level. Your first combat attack, each combat cannot be blocked. Now, I'm not using it for the second ability because I don't really have any card effects that would copy cards. I'm just using it for the first one. Very key here, though. This only stays in when you advance a level. If you get dropped down by ball 2, this drill leaves the field, which is a key component here. So If you're playing against an opponent, you drop them down with ball 2 and you see this on the field, make sure this leaves the field, because this will give them the ability to level up much faster. And getting rid of this with Dragon Ball 2 is much, much needed. Alright, let's move on to events here. Of course, we're awesome, we're great. We're going to go ahead and run Times of Warriors tool. You know how it is. Level 1 per deck, power, stops a physical or energy attack, and stops all of your opponent's attacks this combat. I really like using this card when I'm Garlic level 4, and I've got the blue Overpowering drill out, because then on a really attack heavy turn, my opponent has to stop, because I'm going to continue to raise my anger no matter how many attacks they throw at me over and over and over again. So it shuts down a really quick turn and I can, live another day. Next up we have 2 blue fears. I put these into my deck because of the critical effect, and also so I can discard dead cards into my hand, because as you're going to see, some of the cards in my hand when going into combat can be dead. This card says, if this card is discarded from your hand by a card effect, raise your anger 2 levels, banish after use. So again, great against going up blue. If they make me discard a card, I'll discard the card and still gain anger. Power, use a critical damage effect. You may discard a card from your hand. If you do, draw a card. So we're talking about a couple things: getting balls back, retiring allies, getting board control, which is about what blue and this deck is trying to do. And then also, I can go ahead and discard a card. Essentially, a lot of times I'll draw into Dragon Balls for combat. Boom, discard that Dragon Ball, it goes back to the bottom of my deck, and I draw a card. So I still netted a card. I didn't even lose a card by discarding it. So, and of course, we all know the blue guard play with this is really good as well. And then I'm only running 2 stare down. 2 stare down because honestly that's all the deck has room for, and because, I don't know, I really felt a lot of times I didn't want to stare down at key times, and 2 really felt good for this deck because, again, I'm controlling more by anger and trying to anger out and ball out. So this a lot of times felt like a dead card in combat, so 2 really did the job for me. And of course, the MVP, Villainous Energy Sphere, which this card has saved my butt more than a few times against Namek in overtime, against Black Foreshadowing, against any of those events, especially another stare down or confrontation. I just say no, it saves my butt, and then a lot of times I'll go back into it, get it with times with Visiting the Past or other cards, but if I had another one, I'd probably run 2. Now I only have 1 because, I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. No, I'd probably get a second one down the road, but the 1 has served me very well. All right, let's move on here to setups. We're going to run ourselves here 1 blue trick, because even though this deck does focus a lot on capturing balls, this is nice to have on the field even early mid-game if I want to get a key ball back and I'm not on Garlic level 3, or I'm unable to steal a ball via Garlic's ability, say if I'm wall breakered. So I still think this is a needed card. Even at 1, it's endurance 2, and it goes out on the field and is very, very useful. 1, Information Gathering. Now this card is super needed against black decks and also against other Namekian decks, because a lot of times you'll be playing against a Namekian player who does a lot of ball manipulation. So at one point, a ball that was on the field that was banished is now back in their deck. So in order to MP or to Dragon Ball out, you'll need to put that ball that was banished, that was in play, that isn't anymore, back into your deck. This card actually saved me a game against an Namekian player who was doing a lot of ball manipulation. I put my ball 6 back into the bottom of my deck and allowed me to draw it so I could ball out. And again, against black, if you're really one of those balls back, key card. Oh, good old Villainous Visage. Limit 1 per deck, banish after use. Power, it's an instant. After you take damage from an attack, your opponent destroys the top X cards of his life deck. X equals twice the amount of life card damage that attack dealt. Now, boys and girls with Villainous Visage, let me teach you a key point on this. A lot of people are going to tell you about the nice OP plays they made with this. Oh, some guy hit me for 14 cards and I did 28 back to him, or some guy hit me for this. Those are great, and sometimes you will have an idiot who hits you for those kind of cards. I'm telling you, the best plays with this are when they hit you for 4 or 5 or 6. Now, I know this doesn't sound like a big OP play, but to make them mill the top 12 cards of their life deck with no endurance is pretty damn powerful. And a lot of times I will see players have this card out and wait too long. Guys, with Ball 4, with Betrayals, with Orange Stare Down, with all of the setup hate in this game, if you can pop this off and it's a decent sized attack and you sense it's the right time, do it. Because even at 12 life cards, that still turns the tide of the game super huge. So don't be afraid to use it at the right time, boys and girls. Gonna do Dragon Radar. We know how this goes. Search a Dragon Ball or Life Deck for a Dragon Ball and play it. Boom. I do run 2 of Garlic Jr.'s Dead Zone. An amazing card I was running 1 of, and I'm running 2 of. Limit 2 per deck, banish after use, power, shuffle all Dragon Balls in play into their owner's life decks to search your life deck for a Dragon Ball and place it into play. This has a few utility plays. Number 1, you can use it early game to get a ball 1 or 6. Even though you're not playing, you're still placing it into play. It's almost like a Dragon Radar for ball 1 and 6 early if you have no other balls. Another way this card is used well is against any kind of auto crit deck. Krillin level 1 with black, Namek and Piccolo at level 2. If you are seeing that the tides are turning and that the balls are leaving your side of the field and going to your opponents, again, right in the middle of that, once your ball 1 is stolen, you've got about 3 or 4 open to be stole. You want to pop this off. Pop everything back in there, hit a reset button, and put the ball 1 back out, or put the ball 6 back out to stop the stages. Also, again, if they're getting a ball advantage and you see they're about to ball out, reset. Doesn't allow them to do it. If you're low on life cards, this card has actually led me to do one of my favorite plays is if I've got like 2 or 3 cards in the deck, end of the turn, I'll do Garlic Jr.'s Dead Zone, shuffle them all in and put a ball 1 back out and hope to get the ball 3. Because if I can draw the ball 3, then I'm going to be able to place my cards out and hopefully ball out. So that's another amazing use for this card as well. Very, very good card. And then of course, because we're amazing, to visiting the past, like run them all the time in every deck. Like I don't know, there may be a few decks I wouldn't run this in, but this one card on the field will stop my opponent from going into combat. I can't tell you the number of times I've had this card out and I've had an opponent go, "What's your discard pile?" A time, a sphere, a blue betrayal, like all this good stuff. I don't want to go into combat with you because if I do, you're going to pop this off and smack me in the face. And of course, it's the best to do as the defender, but again, it can also be popped off if you're the attacker and you want to set up a better hand. You can do that with this. So, OP, you know what it does. When you're in combat, search your discard pile for a card, place it in your hand. If you have more than 3 cards in your hand, place the card from your hand to the bottom of your life deck. Alright, enough of that. Let's go on to the Dragon Balls. We're in Dragon Ball 2. You may lower personality 1 level. Dragon Ball 4. Destroy up to 2 setups or drills. Dragon Ball 3. Draw 3 cards. Place 2 cards from your hand. At the bottom of your life deck, raise or lower a player's anger 1 level. Now, this, with Garlic 3, is an amazing, amazing card because it allows you to do a 3-ball combo. So, my favorite, and I've done it many times, you steal ball 3. You draw your 3 cards, place 2 cards from your hand at the bottom of your life deck, raise or lower a player's anger 1 level. You raise your anger 1 level. Steal ball 5. Gain 5 stages. Raise your anger 1 level. This will stop. This will freeze this. Okay, this is key. We'll freeze it. And you'll still ball 7. You will resolve ball 7 effect then. You will then choose 3 cards from your discard pile and place them on top of your life deck. And then you destroy the top 3 of their life deck. So then you put the top cards you want to draw with ball 5 on top. Ball 7 finishes resolving. And then ball 5 finishes its resolving. So you draw the card you just put on top of ball 7 and you rejuvenate 1. Stealing 3 balls, netting you a 2-card advantage, 1 of them selectively gotten from your discard pile. Yeah, pretty darn good. And then the 2 other balls here are Dragon Ball 1. Of course, your other Dragon Balls cannot be captured. Your attacks deal +1 life card of damage, so they have to steal this ball. And against physical decks, this is a great card to have. Ball 6, your MP's power rating is +3, and your opponent's attacks deal -2 stages of damage. Really amazing. Alright, let's get into the energy combat cards here. Of course, we got Blue Terror, the pretty promo. Limit 1 per deck, banish after use, energy attack costing 2 stage, damage 3 life cards, search your life deck for a non-Dragon Ball card, and place it into your hand. So again, this is like one of the best tutoring cards in the game. You just tutor out for whatever you want. As long as it's not a Dragon Ball, you get to tutor it out. Amazing card. Running 2 blue neck beams. A couple of reasons. Of course, the first one is this card is discarded from your hand from a card effect. Your MP gains 4 stages. So you're getting beat down by a physical deck and you discard this card. Boom, pop up 4 more stages. Helps prevent you from the beatdown. Endurance 1, energy attack costing 2 stages, damage 4 life cards, hit, raise, or lower your opponent's MP 1 personality level at the end of combat. This is not only helpful against going, say, Piccolo level 2. It's also super useful when you're going up against a Krillin level 1. Save this as the last card. Make them throw attacks at you, defend, and at the very end of it, throw this at them and raise them to level 2. Now, for a promo Krillin player, being raised to level 2, your deck is not made to do that. Your deck is not built around that. So that will put them at a disadvantage and you at a great advantage because they no longer can do criticals and they no longer can keep sniping your balls or messing with your anger. So amazing card for both reasons. Of course, we are also, because we're awesome, going to run 3 blue guard. Yes, even with the new ruling, I still think this card is amazing. If this card is discarded from your hand by a card effect, you may banish it instead to draw a card, and it's a stop energy attack. Combos well with Blue Fear, combos well when you're going against black and they want you to discard a card, you still keep your hand advantage, and it also combos well with the Mastery to go ahead and lower their anger, even though you don't get the draw off it anymore. Running 3 Blue Hand Blast. Great card for Garlic, not just because it has them on there. Energy attack costing 3 stages, damage 5 life cards, raise your anger 2 level, hit, raise or lower your opponent's anger 2 levels. This is a better version of Enrage Blast. Because it costs the same, but it allows you to raise or lower your opponent's anger by 2. Again, promo Krillin, they're on 4 anger, or you've gotten them to that point, hit them, raise them by 2, get them to the next level. Or you hit your opponent and they're wanting to raise anger, Piccolo level 1, they're at 2 anger, boom, hit them, raise their lower their anger by 2. So really good utility card. And then the last energy card of the deck, MVP, Garlic Jr.'s Counterblast, banish after use, energy attack costing 2 stages, damages 5 life cards, which is not the main part. The main part is raise your anger 2 levels, good anger raising. The damage modifiers on your MP's infinite powers are double this combat. So Garlic level 3, you're going to be doing -4/-4 to all of their attacks. So Krillin's Destructo Disc, oh, that's adorable. You hit me for 1. Oh, that's cute. All those physical attacks, combo with Ball 6, that's now -6 stages you're hitting me for. Cool, it hit me for 8 stages, so that's 2. So a lot of those big decks that want to have those big turns, this is really a defense card if you think about it. It's not really for the attack. I mean, you know, it's cool if you hit him for 5, but this is just the big, like, F you. I'm sorry, you wanted to do something? You had that big attack turn set up? No. You do nothing to me, so have fun. Although be careful when you're at level 4, because it will double those, and they will do +6 life cards of damage, so be very careful about that. Alright, so let's move on to physicals here. I'm going to get on my blockers. You'll notice on energy I only had 3 blockers because I'm not concerned about energy as much because I negate that at level 1, 2, and 3. Physicals, I don't negate that until level 3. I run Blue Crouch here for my physical. Endurance 3, number 1, stops a physical attack. If your MP's power level is lower than your opponent's MP power level, place this card on top of your life deck after use. So if you feel you're getting beat up a little too much, you're going against physical decks, this card essentially recycles. I put it on top of my life deck, I draw it again another turn. So those physical heavy decks, boom, I get this back. Godku decks, Turtles decks, anything that's trying to beat me down and get me down in stages, this card comes back to my hand. So that the best part is, even if you throw an energy attack, even if you're not a physical deck, you throw an energy attack at me, I know what my next endurance is. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, cool, and 5, I lost 2 cards. Really great setup card to use within the deck, and I can't see you run the deck without it. We are also running 2 blue intervention. I did say I only had those 2 energies. These are also energy, but they're used to give me almost 3 cards in the deck in a 2-card slot. Limit 2 per deck. If this card is discarded from your hand by a card effect, you may banish it to search your life deck or discard pile for a copy of blue intervention and place it into your hand. Power, defense, stops an energy attack. You may raise or lower your opponent's anger 1 level. So here's the really good play with this. What you want to do is play this to stop an energy. Okay, just a straight energy stop, and then raise or lower your opponent's anger. Once it's in the discard pile, you'll want to wait till you get the second one, or let's just say it's discarded from something else. You'll want to wait till you get your second one. You'll want to then discard it for your power, because it says physical to guard an energy, and then banish it to get this back from your discard pile, essentially giving you 3 cards. If you do it from the get-go, and you banish this to get this copy, yes, it does fetch this for you, but then again, the second one is in your banish pile, and you can't do that combo. It still gives you 2 cards. So the best play is to wait until one of these is in your discard pile, and then you get a 3rd free card. Woo! Value. Next, we're on Blue Wrist Block. Hello, this card saved my butt like a billion times. I went up against a Namekian player who was throwing some physicals at me. Of course, you know, a Namekian right throw and all that stuff, and he had 2 visiting the past. He enters on me. I drew 2 blue wrist blocks. So I was like, block by visiting the past. block again by visiting the past, and it's so amazing just because of all the setup and drills in this game, just how much even when they're attacking you, it's just a big no, and then it also says bye. I mean, I know you have all this awesome stuff, but no. So very very neat card in the deck. Oh, two other funny cards. Blue Precarious Defense. Um, its ability is prevent all damage from a physical attack, endurance 1, which is cool. The main ability, though, is you may discard this card from your hand during the planning step. If you do, choose a setup and play and place it at the bottom of its owner's life deck. The planning step, boys and girls, so that means, guess what? You can use this during their planning step as well. Hold this in your hand, they put down a visit in the past. Oh, I'm going to discard this card. Put that at the bottom of your deck. Yeah, no. It's just a really good denial card. And I love drawing these in my prep when I've got like a setup or something. I discard it. I get rid of their Dragon Radar. I get rid of their Black Power Up. I get rid of their, any awesome setup I just get rid of off the board. So, key card there. Running 2 Sagacious Strikes, just because I do have a lot of anger that I'd like to raise up. Villains only limit to protect physical attack damage at +3 stages, but of course, we all know this attack is considered to deal critical damage, and I usually say, you know what, I'm going to choose for this attack to deal no damage, and if I do, it can't be stopped. So, auto get rid of Wall Breaker, auto crit, getting balls back, a lot of good utility with this card, so definitely run that card. I run 2 Blue Head Knock, just because it's an amazing physical card. Endurance 2, number 1. Physical attack, damage 5 life cards, so that's great. The other one, lower your opponent's anger to 0. I can't tell you how many times my opponent's been at 5 anger and I'm like, Blue Head Knock? I mean, you can block it, I don't care, but you're down to 0 anger. Yeah, no. Very, very good card. I do run 2 Blue Trap Strikes, mainly for the anger gain. I really don't use it for the attack as much. It's just banish after use, physical attack damage at 3 stages. If you control a Dragon Ball, this attack stays to be in play and used a second time this combat, raise or lower a player's anger 1 level. In ideal situations, even if I'm really low on power stages, this will do 6 stages to my opponent, limiting their attacks, which is also good for me as well. And I get to raise or lower a player's anger by 1, so I get to control their anger 2. Running 2 Blue Backbreak, because as much as I love my opponent's allies, no I don't, I want to get rid of them. This is a physical attack, damage 5 stages, raise your anger 1 level, and you may shuffle an ally in play into its owner's life deck. So a good answer to allies is not banishing them, but again, get rid of them. Boom, 2 Wallbreaker, because Wallbreaker OP, man. Wallbreaker is like the most broke card right now, because it just is like, no, can't stop it. It's going to go on to you, and unless you get a card that can remove it like Sagacious Strike or Mule Kick or Focus Assault, you're just going to be sitting here sad. Piccolo level 1? Aw, too bad. It's a really good card. In the tournament, I actually stalled a Red TN player, Wallbreaker at level 2, and he probably would have been up to level 4 and angered out by that point. Card doesn't have to hit, it just attaches to your opponent, and while attached, your opponent cannot get anger. Banish this card when your opponent deals critical damage. So, yeah, it's broke. And then running 2 Blue Lunge. Really great card for a few reasons. Endurance 2, which we like. Physical attack. It is at +5 stages. Search the top 5 cards of your life deck for a setup and drill and place it into play. Put the remaining cards at the bottom of your life deck in any order. By the way, boys and girls, found something out this weekend. If you search the top 5 cards and you don't find yourself a setup or drill, you gotta show your opponent. They gotta know that you actually didn't find one and that you just didn't want to put one on there. I don't know why you wouldn't, but rules are rules. Yes, this is great for finding setups or drills. It is also great late game if you have a ball left over and you're trying to ball out to stack your deck. You have, I don't know, just passed a turn or a ball just went to the bottom of the deck from damage. It's going to be your turn next. You got 7 cards left. Blue Lunge. Look at the top 5. Don't even care what they are. Just restack them. So boom, you get right to that ball. And this card has helped me ball out when I've been low on my life deck. Amazing. And then the MVP of blue, the butt biting card. Because nothing's sexier than, Yajirobe biting Krillin in the booty. He's eating the booty like groceries. He's eating the booty like groceries. Look at that. Eating the booty like the groceries. And Krillin, he's liking it. I don't want to say anything, but he is liking it. Physical attack damage, 8 stages. You don't use this for the really attack part. You just go banish opponent's setup, drill, or ally in play. The ultimate no card. Nappa, no. Visit the Past, no. Namek and Dragonclan, no. Like, all the goodness, you say no to. So it's a really good card. And, yeah. So, really, boys and girls, that's it for the deck profile. Very much enjoyed it. I did, like I said, wrap-up-wise, I did really well with it, I think. I went up against a few, like red turtles that just got the Dougie on me. Like, every other deck, I did pretty well against, even Krillin. Although I went against a Krillin player who, in one turn, discarded 3 black commands and raised up 6 anger. And he was a non-promo Krillin, so his anger was his game. So it was completely like, okay, that's RNG. But all in all, I really like the deck. It's done me well. And hopefully you guys, it will do you just as well. Of course, post your comments, like what you think of the deck. Are there any improvements you would make? What would you put into it? And what's your personal experience been? Of course, as always, please rate, subscribe, comment, share the goodness here of Mana Beast. And we'll see you guys next time for another deck profile.
Dragon, rock the dragon, Dragon Ball Z. Dragon, rock the dragon.